So I came across this from Resisting the Lies with the title Scottish Borders Council Leader Launches Rap Song. And I'm thinking to myself, oh dear, 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 honestly. It is part and parcel of that societal breakdown and, I mean, rap music, really? Seriously? Oh, here we go. I think in London they've got this, what is it called, drill music? I don't think any of it's that good, to be honest. I'll confess I haven't listened to much of this drill music, but I look at the mindset of the people listening to this, and I'm noticing more and more. Apparently, they're another bunch into their hoodies and, you know, hidden faces and. Well, generally causing mayhem, you know, that kind of thing. And, well, what was a lot of rap about? Oh, and the pushing of drugs and the business of it. And, you know, but you could call much of that street level, you know, blah, blah, blah. So you've got this, Scottish Borders Council Leader launches rap song. Yeah. And by the way, if you're listening, DJ, you know, a couple of links would be nice. Don't get me wrong, you're usually on the ball with that, but this. Anyway, so I literally copied and pasted the first part of his video title, and I came across, well, this individual who is apparently who was the third leader in 6 months back in May of 2022 to take the Scottish Borders Council helm. Now you could ask questions about that alone, like why did they go through essentially 3 leaders in 6 months? You know, what was going on there? But anyway, with all that in mind, let me, pausing occasionally, play you some of this. I'm not necessarily want to grab the speaker to, you know, make it any louder, but let's see how we get on with this.
Yeah, I'm sure someone said they never had it on their bingo card for 2025.
Well, another one. Oh, anyway. The background where he's decided that this was a good idea, you know, is a place called Gala House, and yeah, I could look into the background of that, but you know, it's seen as quite an important building in Gala Shields, and it is lovely grounds, no two doubts about it. Been through it a number of times with my dog, but let's play that bit again.
I'm gonna stand at the mirror, leaving you scarred like drinking it hard on the liver. Yeah, I'm sure someone said they never had it on their bingo card for 2025. The council leader making, a rap track. You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle. Fam, you're a big man.
By the way, that's another place that you know, if you're actually, and believe me, I've done no research on Gala House at all, none. But what I did find quite interesting was the amount of holly around about its borders of the property, etc. Holly, yeah, you know, I've said in the past that the Georgia Guidestones in America that was built in 1980, apparently paid for by somebody called R.C. Christian, and you know, it had these new 10 commandments, one of which was leave humankind in balance with nature, or words to that effect, at roughly 500 million, so $500 million, yeah. That was back in 1980, and when more and more people started taking an interest in said Georgia Guidestones, that, funnily enough, what was its border surrounded by? Holly. And of course you could think of Hollywood and you know, and wizards, what were their, and you know, witches and others about their favourite aspect of a wand made from holly, but you know, it's detail. But yeah, Gala House.
I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, man. And I'm thinking to myself, why is he saying that? Oh, right, okay. Seriously, that's 2 women, a guy, and there's him.
Put into box, don't fall into stereotypes. You know, I'm 5'1", I used to play basketball.
I'm 5'1" and I used to play basketball. As I stutter, I just heard there, I'm asking myself, how effective were you in the pursuit of basketball? Yeah. How effective on your team were you at 5'1"? I mean, hey, I've not got a vast knowledge about basketball, but what I've tended to find historically is they're tall people, very tall people. But no, this man is soldiered on. That's because that's part of what we're being told here. Adversity, blah, blah, blah.
I used to run. Why can't I rap? You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam. Rap gets a really bad rep for what it is. A lot of people think, oh, it's violence. It's this.
I mean, even the way he's dressed, it's almost like some sort of modernist vicar type, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, being hip with the, you know, he's hip with the kids. He's hip with the cool kids, you know. He's a cool guy.
No, rap is one of the purest forms of lyricism in the world, if not the purest for me.
Oh, yeah, again, look, honestly, you could probably do a number of vids just on this alone. Yeah, absolutely. Seriously. And then he starts talking about the border reavers. I'll leave you a link to, well, Wiki, okay, forgive me, but, you know.
Money put in my mouth, Fez, bring a south twist. Scotland starts here. Forgotten lands and forgotten history. A border reaver, bordering on good people. Out of misery. You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
This is the leader in the Scottish Borders Council. Ah, right, okay. Well, look, I've always said, when you look at council leaders, most of management, and, you know, right throughout the network, you have a common denominator. Freemasonry, Theosophy, Eastern Star, variations on the theme, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely. You know, humanism, blah. Honestly, there's this common connection.
You're a big man, I'm a little man, but
The fuck? I mean, we've got nothing to do with rap, you know? Remember, that was created in America, but I would argue that was created as a deliberate aspect of societal breakdown, while selling it as, well, they're lyricists, they're wordsmiths, they're, you know... I beg to differ, seriously, but...
I'll still leave you brittle, fam. Yeah, I'll hopefully be creating an album, so Shepherd's Son. So my dad was a shepherd, I'm also a Christian.
Because they're about, you know, the common denominator, you know, is they're leading the flock of the fucking stupid.
And Jesus is a shepherd, so they'll be...
Let me hear that again, really?
Brittle, fam. Yeah, I'll hopefully be creating an album, so Shepherd's Son. So my dad was a shepherd, I'm also a Christian, and Jesus is a shepherd, so they'll be whole...
Do you think he stands for, you know, biblical Christianity in any way, shape or form? Seriously. And remember, these occultist tossers have got into the church many years ago. Seriously. And, well, people that would normally frequent churches because they went there for a bit of solace, a bit of therapy, an interaction or two with a neighbour, and, you know, all the rest of it. Usually pleasantly dressed, and, you know. But over time it was like the demonizing of the UK and what it stood for, really, and we should do everything for third world countries, blah blah blah, and that message started really getting permeated through the churches, and, you know, it was one of the many ways I would argue that people quite rightly started turning their back on it, and all by design. You know, it's a part of that bigger plan. But yeah, he's a Christian.
Introspective album, and hopefully, who knows, performing at the Mac Arts will talk to you about the continents like tectonic plates. An ironic trait is that when you're Scottish, you don't even think you're that great.
And obviously he struggles dietary, but many of them do, I tend to find. You know, you think that they were supposed to be clued up, that would be, well, a wee bit smarter about their own health, but is what I find is a common denominator is they usually have handlers, you know. I mean, that's why the occult elite want really one part or aspect of the pursuance of AI is they won't need these people over time, because by then the public will be so brain dead that, you know, they're quite happy to accept an avatar that talks to them. Thanks for that, Bella. But as I said, as always, I could do a better job. I'll repeat, you could just go at this from so many different angles, just that wee clip alone. Really? Seriously. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the comments underneath. Does he think he's in South Central LA? If Scotland can't sink any lower, it does. So cringe. Poor guy's desperate to convey he can't sing. He'll do great, though looking so cool, decked out in his specs and scaffy beard. Wow, Bad Boy Jock and the Invisible Crew, but he thinks he's epic. Who's he trying to impress, or what demographic is he trying to reach? Well, that's a good question as well. Plus, what the fuck? Yeah. Yes. Anyway, your thoughts. I'll leave you a link to this. DJ, and another, in other words, known as Resisting the Lies, is always worth subscribing to. Anyway, share if you care, and I'll speak to you soon.